Welcome to the City Current Radio Show. I'm Andrew Bartolotta, Director of Digital Media here at City Current. And if you're looking for serenity in today's world, there's a spot in Memphis just for that. An urban paradise in the heart of the city with lush gardens that have hosted community events, lavish weddings, athletic events. They have chickens and butterflies. Some of my favorite concerts have been held there with their Live at the Garden concert series. I'm talking about Memphis Botanic Garden. Their membership and volunteer manager, Bree Helms, is joining us today to share more. Bree, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Absolutely. So can you tell us more about Memphis Botanic Garden and its 96-acre property, and you have over 30 specialty gardens?
Yeah, so it's 96 acres total, which is huge. Most people have only seen sections of it through events, like you mentioned, weddings and all types of things. But there's 96 full acres. There's 30 plus gardens. We do have chickens, which were a newer addition, which I love. They're gorgeous. We have children's areas. We have something for everybody, which I think is really unique to our area.
Now, what is your favorite space at Memphis Botanic Garden and why?
Well, I actually got married last year. We got married the day the city shut down due to the pandemic. We got the email at midnight. It was wild. But we got married in the rose garden. So I think that's kind of my favorite. It's really beautiful, and they have the plants rotate out. So there's always something blooming in there, which I think is really special. So no matter what time of year you come, it's always gorgeous.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about that, I mean, you have activities for sort of the winter season. So it really is a full year garden to come to and experience and see different aspects the entire year. So it's not just to come once and then check it off your list. You really have an opportunity to come several times a year and see something different, experience music, food, what have you. So that's great. Now, Memphis Botanic Garden is a beautifully socially distanced space for all ages. You have a fascinating playground exploration garden called My Big Backyard, which I have seen firsthand, and I would like to hang out there all day if I could. Can you give listeners an idea of what's in this expansive space?
Absolutely. So My Big Backyard is an area that is made with kids in mind, but also adults that are kids at heart. So don't think because it's a children's area that it's not for you, because I promise it is. We have a lot of play and education moments. So there's a lot of areas like, this is what pizza is made out of. And pizza is made from wheat for the dough and tomatoes for the sauce. And we have that growing there. So it kind of makes that connection for children and for adults who may not realize how much of our food is grown. We have an area for little ones where they can play in the sand and get to, they get their hands dirty, which doesn't happen as often these days with kids. We've got a huge birdhouse with bird eggs where you can climb up inside of it and slide down the slide and be a part of the canopy in the trees. We have Raindrop Stop, which re-rains every 30 minutes or so, and there'll be thunder and lightning, and then all the rain comes down and fills up a little creek to play in. It's the perfect spot to be in for the summer. There's something for everyone. It is one of the most interactive places I've personally ever been, and it's always my first stop when I visit the garden.
I love that. I'm glad that it's for kids at heart as well, because it really is a great place to spend an entire afternoon. So speaking of My Big Backyard and connecting kids to nature, a lot of the mission of Memphis Botanic Garden is connecting children to nature, and you have summer camps and activities for children. Can you talk about your upcoming summer camps, both on campus and then sort of your garden on the go camp?
Absolutely. So our summer camps, we have, they're about a week long, and they have different topics. So we've done topics such as how does your garden grow, which teaches kids how plants grow, why they grow the way they do, why certain plants are different colors for predators, or these plants we can eat, these we cannot. And those are for our younger kids, which is so much fun because a lot of kids have never planted something and watched it grow. So that's a really unique experience to watch kids be proud of something that they've created. And then we also have camps for older kids talking about culture and ways that plants go into so many different cultures and how that's evolved through the years. We have a camp for nearly every age, honestly, and they're so much fun. And I learned so much just by being near them. We staff them with volunteers as well as staff. So it's really fun to get out there and kind of see what they're learning. Because honestly, half the time I don't know it either. And so it's really fun. And the kids teach me a lot. But yeah, we've been doing Garden on the Go, which is a camp on the go. So it comes with 15 activities, 3 for each day. And there are activities such as crafts, but also scavenger hunts and things you can do in your own backyard. Because when my big backyard was built, it was built with the intention of, yes, having a space at the garden, but also taking that home with you. So a lot of the things we have out there are things you can do at home as well, like making mud pies. You can do that anywhere. So a lot of the garden on the go activities have that in mind, and you can do them at home, or we've had people buy them and then do them at the garden, socially distanced with their own families. So that way, whether you're being extra cautious during this pandemic, you can still have those activities and that experience. It's been a really good time.
Now, when you talk about experiences at Memphis Botanic Garden, you can't talk about just the camps and the agriculture and the beautiful flowers. You also have to talk about Live at the Garden. Talk to us about Radians Amphitheater and your Live at the Garden series, Locals Live, and being home to this year's Memphis Food and Wine Festival and Mempho Fest.
Yes, Live at the Garden has been a staple in the community for a very long time. It's one of the really unique venues in the city where it's completely outdoors. You bring your own food, your own alcohol, your blankets, your chairs, and you just sit out. There's not a bad seat in the house. And we've had some world-class talent. I know in 2018, we had some amazing shows. I staff it, of course, volunteers. So I'm there every night. It's like the best experience, the most fun, the biggest perk to working here, besides the beautiful scenery. Of course, we had to make the decision to cancel this past year just because of the pandemic and us trying to find a safe way to do everything, and there just wasn't. And so this year we're hoping that we can bring it back. It may not be a full season like we've known in the past, but we're really hoping that in late summer, maybe early fall, we can bring back Live at the Garden, bring back live music. And we're starting that with Locals Live. And so we're going to have 2 concerts, one in April with Almost Famous and one in May with Southern Avenue, which are going to be incredible. And we're doing that in pods. So it's going to be a really fun, unique experience where you can just go into your pod with your own family, set up, and have a little piece of normal, which is really awesome in these times. We're really excited. We're pumped. We're ready to go. Live music, it needs to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, you're bringing world-class talent. You've had everyone from Tony Bennett and Chris Daughtry to Little Big Town and Darius Rucker. I mean, some of my favorite, my wife and I love going to concerts, and some of my favorite concerts have been at your amphitheater. So it's a beautiful space. And like you said, there's no bad seat in the house. So hopefully that'll come back this fall. Now, what puts a smile on your face when you look at the Memphis Botanic Garden and the impact it has on your community?
I think the thing that I didn't realize before I started working at the garden was that so many people don't have the opportunity to go outside and to get their hands in the dirt and have a yard. You know, when I was a kid, my grandma always took me to plant pansies in the front flower bed, but not every child has that opportunity. And so a lot of the schools that we serve are under the poverty line. And so these kids come and they have no idea. And it's just amazing seeing their face when they realize that we plant fruits and vegetables. It never clicks because they've never seen it. And watching that connection, they are just so excited, watching them learn how bees make honey. It's just one of those simple things in life that I think a lot of us take for granted. And I get to see it all the time. And it is just such a wonderful experience. And it's not only the kids, it's adults as well, which is really fun. We have a lot of adult activities like botanical bars where we talk about how alcohol and botanicals cross over, and watching people not realize certain things. And it's just like the light turns on and it's so much fun. And that's probably my favorite part. It happens every day. It's just incredible.
Yeah, you really are bringing in nature, but also showing people how practical it is and how we use it every single day. And like you said, being in an urban setting where you might walk out and there's very little grass, let alone plants and flowers and gardens, you're able to really expose that to the children of our area and youth to show that it's something that we can do in our own backyard if we have one, or if not, come to Memphis Botanic Garden and experience it for yourself. You've discussed a little bit about volunteerism at Memphis Botanic Garden and, you know, being a membership and volunteer manager. What are some of the ways the community can get involved through volunteerism at Memphis Botanic Garden?
We have a wide variety of opportunities for businesses as well as individuals. So when I first started working at the garden, I thought everything was going to be digging in dirt and it was going to be all flowers. And I'm not a plant person. And so I was like, oh no, this is a lot for me. But when you get in, you realize there are concerts that are staffed with volunteers, and you do get to stay and watch them afterwards, which is a huge perk. We have the summer camp, so you can work with children and show them the wonder of nature. We have adult education classes where we have all types of things from art, sculpting, jewelry making, those types of things you can help out with. We have plant sales. We do have, of course, 30+ gardens. So if you are a plant person, this is the place for you to be. But we have something for everybody. We've continued our volunteer opportunities through the pandemic all the way. So now, as we're hopefully nearing the end in a space where we feel a little bit safer and a little bit more prepared for what's in front of us, we have pretty much have everything out again. It's really exciting. I just posted a bunch before we got on this interview, so I'm really excited to see all the names pop up. We're a really close-knit group here at the garden. We have over 4,000 volunteers who come through. You know, some only do concerts, some only do plants, but it's really great. And we get to know each other really well. And it's just a really exciting, family-friendly environment. So if you're looking for something short-term, you know, a one-time event for college hours, or if you're retired and you're looking for something every day of the week, we have something that will fit for you.
I love that. And if you are listening, you know, you don't have to have a green thumb, like she said, to volunteer at Memphis Botanic Garden. That's great. Over 4,000 volunteers. That's huge. And that saves the Memphis Botanic Garden a lot of resources to then put it back into the community by having these really just avid volunteers coming out and helping with the cost of you know, employees of the garden. So that's really great. Now, speaking of volunteers, Memphis Botanic Garden is partnering with Volunteer Odyssey for their second virtual volunteer day, annual virtual volunteer day, Friday, April 23rd. Can you give us a sneak peek or let us know what how they can make a difference from a distance with y'all that day?
Yeah, so we really took the difference from a distance in mind with this activity. So we're actually doing a spring cleaning kind of volunteer donation drive. So we have a list of things that will be really helpful in the garden, most of which are going to go towards the children's area, big backyard. But it might be things you never thought of, you know, pots and pans, spatulas are perfect for making mud pies. We've done a class where we created succulent arrangements in high-heeled shoes. So we try to use things that are found in your house for two real reasons. One, because recycling, reusing, that is a huge part of our mission. It helps the environment in so many ways. So when we can take these things out of the trash cans, out of the landfills, and reuse them and give them a second life is important. But also, as mentioned earlier, we have My Big Backyard, and we try to use things in My Big Backyard that you have in your own house. So you don't have to come to the garden to have these fun activities and these experiences. You can make mud pies in your own backyard. You can reuse your work boots to plant some plants in. We try to use materials that you already have. And so having these donated to us help us really solidify that. And also it helps you get rid of stuff in your house. I personally have already gone through my house. I'm pregnant and having a baby in fall, and it helped me clean stuff out, and it felt good doing it. So hopefully we can get those two aligned, and you guys could help us out.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, you are in the middle of a capital campaign, and so you're renovating some of the spaces at Memphis Botanic Garden and really just making it an even more beautiful place to experience. Can you give listeners a little bit about what's to come at Memphis Botanic Garden?
Yes. So over the course of last spring, early summer, we finished the visitor center. So if you haven't been since then, you should come check it out. It's beautiful. We have a brand new art installation in the ceiling. It's gorgeous. And we're currently renovating those spaces first, just to kind of make the whole experience of the visitor better, kind of give it a facelift, which it desperately needed, because we do a lot of events and weddings and things like that at the garden. But we've also got a lot of projects out in the garden itself that are really incredible. We are adding new things. We have an urban home garden, which was added not too long ago, which is where the chickens are, which feature a lot of really cool activities and ideas that you might see on Pinterest or might see in a gardening magazine, but shows you how to do them, which are really interesting because sometimes you see things online, you're like, I could never do that, but there they are, and they're in front of you, and it's a step-by-step process. It's great. And then they're going to add some more things. We're getting some signage to make it a little easier because 96 acres is a lot to navigate. But there's a lot to come. There's a lot to come. And a lot of the capital campaign too is to help fund things for the future, to make sure our education programs are always accessible to everyone, ready to go at any moment. So that's really exciting. And all the sponsors have been incredible. it's been amazing to see the community come together to help the garden. It's been great.
Now, Memphis Botanic Garden is a nonprofit. Can you talk about how ways people can support the garden through memberships or donations?
Yeah, so of course, memberships is close to my heart. I'm the membership manager. And so I would say that memberships are the best way to help the garden and also help yourself. We have a lot of different levels, from an individual, which is only $45 for the whole year. And that's free admission every single day. We have discounts to local nurseries, Dan West, Bartlett Nursery. So if you're shopping around, you've also got those options as well. Discounts to events, pre-sale for live at the garden. You get a lot for yourself as well. And it's the most direct way to help the garden. We rolled out about a month ago a 6-month membership. So if you're not sure or you're not totally sold, it's only $40 for 6 months for 2 adults and all kids in your household under the age of 18. So it's a kind of a deal you can't beat. And it's the best way to do it, to experience it and to give back. Of course, we love donations. Every nonprofit does. And there's a lot of unique ways to get those involved as well. Memorial trees and benches, which are great because it's such a beautiful spot to remember somebody, as well as different campaigns throughout the year. We just finished up our art auction. So we have events throughout the year where you can also give back and get something a little nice as well. But yeah, it's really has a lot of opportunities, but membership is the number one, I would say.
Now, when you talk about opportunities and you talk about memberships and donations and the events, where can people go to learn more about Memphis Botanic Garden?
Everything that I've talked about, everything that you've asked is all on memphisbotanicgarden.com. There's links to every bit of our social media on there, our calendar, sign up for our email list, membership, volunteers, absolutely everything is all on our website. So I would start there first. But you can also just come in. We're in the heart of Memphis. We're at 750 Cherry Road, right by campus, right by the mall. You can't miss us. So just come on in. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to show you around. We'd love to kind of give you any information you need. So whichever way is best for you, but we would love to hear from you. We'd love to see you. Come out and play.
Bree, thank you so much for sharing more about Memphis Botanic Garden, your gardens, your live events, your summer camps with us. To learn more about Memphis Botanic Garden, check out memphisbotanicgarden.com. Bree, again, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.